Are you an indie comic creator? Do you want to get more eyes on your crowdfunding campaign? Do you want to get more backers and a pitch that actually sells? Then welcome to the one show that helps indie comic creators win. Today, Destiny will choose 3 indie comic campaigns for us to look at and review, and we will choose one campaign to back. So stay to the end to see who will win, because in the end,
there can be only one.
welcome, everyone. Welcome, Dead Cosmos. He's been here early, eagerly awaiting the next episode of the comic book showdown of Ultimate Destiny. As you can see, I'm going solo for a little bit today. Smurf might be joining us, hopefully, but today he is on a conference call with a lot of the big expos, Fan Expo. Breckenridge Brewery has done this year's brew. Every year, the Fan Expo has a special brew, a special mug, and it's sort of comic book themed. And this year, it's kind of Ghostbusters themed, and so 5280 Geek and the Colorado Ghostbusters, which are both run by Smurf, have a lot to do with that. So he's on the conference calls, trying to figure out, when to set up, where to set up, what's going on, all that good stuff. So hopefully he will be joining us very soon. Yes, as you can see, we got Sam's ears right here. He's eagerly awaiting to be on camera as well. But how's everybody out there doing? It's Friday, finally Friday, and we're here to look at some indie comics. You guys excited that it's Friday? I know for some of you guys that means nothing. It doesn't mean the end of the work week. It means like a long day of work. But are you excited anyway? Also today, I'm going to be going down to Kapow Comics and Coffee. Shout out to Kapow Comics. They're having their a birthday bash celebration there at the comic shop. So I'm going to be going down there and checking that out. Dead Cosmos says it's his Wednesday, so it's hump day for you. Hope you get some humping done. And Out of Touch says I can't complain. That's right. We can always find something to complain about if we want to, but we don't really want to. Welcome to episode 55 of the Comic Book Showdown of Ultimate Destiny. We had a good show last week. Dead Cosmos says, I'm hoping for a humping. Aren't we all? Benjamin's with us. He says it's rainy and humid. Where are you at again, Benjamin? You've told me before, but I forgot. It is just kind of warm here. It's been raining a lot here almost every day. Finally, yesterday and today are starting to become like normal, just hot, sunny days. Got out to the pool yesterday. That was nice. Oh, that's right. Alabama. Yeah. It's known for like rainy and humid. Yeah, it's been raining here a lot for like 2 months, Dead Cosmos says. Yeah. It's been kind of crazy. I'm ready. Although I'm really hoping this doesn't mean that we have summer like drag out until like October. Just hot days for the next couple months. We'll see. I hope not. So yeah, we've got a great lineup today. I kind of came in here a little late today, so I don't have my normal fancy slideshow of all the upcoming different campaigns that are on the wheel. But we are going to have them on the wheel anyway. Also, I want to give a shout out to Hellhounds. I believe it's called. Let me try to open that tab. Sam, you're on my keyboard again. It's hard to do things when you're on my keyboard, man. Double checking that they are live here. See, you're hitting buttons. Don't make me have to kick you off. Spelling it wrong. Come on, get down. He's trying to sit on my lap, and I'm like all sitting upright, so he can't. uh, I'm trying to find this one particular campaign that, and of course, I can't. Everything I'm typing in is pulling up nothing. Of course. What is going on with my? That's why I really need an assistant. I miss having the days that we had an assistant during the show, like it could help push buttons and stuff, because that's what ends up clogging me up. I'm trying to like remember and click on buttons. Oh well. I'll get to it later eventually. But we had a campaign that entered into our very first customer, if you will, of our new service, the crowdfunding clinic, and get you a Steam Deck. I'm not sure what a Steam Deck is. I have an idea at what you're talking about, but like right now, I'm trying to find a particular campaign, and I thought it was called Hellhounds, and I typed that in, and it's not it. So I don't know if a Steam Deck's going to help me do a Google search or not, but I can't remember how this person contacted me either. Anyway, keep getting distracted. But basically, we have a new service. It's called the Crowdfund Clinic. And this person, Frank, was our very first customer on that. And he ended up making a lot of changes to his campaign. And that campaign just went live. So I was trying to find it. But we definitely want to showcase those people who are utilizing that new service. And if you're interested in getting your campaign looked at before you go live, be sure and message me. I'm going to put the link in the comments section after the show. So Benjamin says, I've noticed some publishers running crowdfund campaigns on their own site. Coffin Comics. Man, I am all tongue-tied today. Has their own one now. That doesn't surprise me. I mean, Coffin Comics was averaging about almost $1 million a year on Kickstarter. And so with that kind of traffic, they're just giving a whole bunch of money away to Kickstarter, and probably can save a lot of that just by having them come there. I don't know how many people are going to do that because I don't know. I guess the positives are that you save some money. You don't have to give a percentage to Kickstarter or to whatever platform that you're using. But on the other hand, that means that you've got to direct people to your website. And if your website's not already busy with traffic, and theirs is, to be sure, then you're going to have to spend even more time working to get people to view your Kickstarter or to your campaign, your crowdfunding campaign. Whereas on Kickstarter, there's going to be a percentage of people who just stumble across your campaign as they're looking through all the other, comic book campaigns on the site. It's kind of like the difference between having your own store and selling t-shirts, but then also having it on, some site like Threadless or something where a lot more people are going to see it. You got to give them a cut, but you're getting the benefit of that is you're getting a lot more views. So it's a trade-off, to be sure. But that's good information though. Like, let me know if you see who else is doing that. You're right in the way, buddy. Thank you. If I didn't have to do so many things with buttons, he could probably hang out with me up here a little easier. But let's see here. So we're going to jump right into the Wheel of Destiny since I can't seem to find that link. I just saw it on Facebook, and now I can't find that either. And so rather than get frustrated, we're just going to go on to the good stuff. Okay, so let's jump over to the wheel. And here's our wheel over here. Turn off our ads. This week, we've got some returning names. We've got some people who we've seen here before. We've got all kinds of good stuff. Up first, we got Hero of Legend. They're on their last week to be able to be on this show before their campaign closes. We've got The Fog Within from Sean Wood, also in the last few hours of being able to be on the show. So fingers crossed for Sean. And if anyone knows Sean, be sure and go send him a message or tag him in the comments that he might have one last shot to be on the Wheel of Destiny right now. Then we got a new entry, Interstellar Dust. Then we've got Gerald von Stauder's art book, The Devil Inside Volume 1. Then we have a returning book. This one's interesting. This is a case of, if you fail, try again. The book is called Lost Son, #1. It's been on this show before, and it did not succeed its first time. So did they take some advice from this show and make some changes? I don't know. It remains to be seen. After that, we've got one called Queen Bee. That always makes me think of the Venture Brothers. Midnight Mystics and Excavator 1 through 3. So quite a good lineup today. Are you guys ready to spin the wheel? I need to hear somebody say it. While I drink my coffee here. Are we ready?
Let's fucking go!
There can be only one Highlander type situation. Behold, my wheel of
Destiny!
Pitter patter, let's get at her.
Time to spin the wheel.
It's time to spin the wheel. That's right, Josh. That's right. All right, first up, as Sam lays on my left arm, I'll spin it with my right arm. First up, #1. It's going to be, looks like just barely squeezed in there, Midnight Mystics. Just barely squeezed in there. That's what she said. Midnight Mystics. All right, we'll take that one off the list. Fish is with us. Welcome, Fishley. We are just getting into the Wheel of Destiny. Smurf isn't with us yet, but have no fear. He should be joining us later. All right, #2. Interstellar Dust. I feel like I got some interstellar dust up my nose. Either that or a wild nose hair, but it keeps tickling my nose. I promise it's not Coke. All right. Last but not least, let's see who will be #3. Oh, it's going to be Sean. The Fog Within from Sean. Congratulations, Sean. I'm already pressing too many buttons. So if anybody is on Facebook, like you, Fish, you're on Facebook right now, go tag Sean Wood in the comments. Let him know that he is about to be on the Wheel of Destiny with only a few hours left. So he made it on the very last day. So a shout out to those other campaigns. The Devil Inside is Gerald von Stauder's art book. And we want to be sure and give him some support on that. I did give him some feedback on his campaign as well. Again, if you want to get feedback on your campaigns beforehand, message me. We have a whole brand new service for that. Yes, you're right. There are some awesome picks today. I think an energy drink can clear the fog within. Maybe so. Maybe that's what the main hero does. Just chug some energy drinks. Okay. Also, be sure and go check out Lost Sun at number 1. They've only got 4 days to go, so they will also not be on the wheel next week. But it does look like they've just barely slid over home plate with $1,006 raised out of a $1,000 goal. So be sure and check out Lost Sun. Then we have Queen Bee, issue 1 and 2. It's only got 3 days to go. So all these are campaigns that are going to be gone by next week. This Queen Bee one looks interesting. Let's see if I can get a quick share of that. Let's close that one. Or actually, let's hit this tab instead. Does that work? Yes. They got a little animated GIF going on here with their stuff, which a lot of people forget that you can include on a campaign. Adds a little bit of life to your story section. But this looks cool. There's only 3 days left, so be sure and check that one out. Then we've got Hero of Legend. It's only got 13 hours to go. This was been sitting on the wheel for a couple weeks now and never quite made it, but they have hit goal. So if you haven't checked this one out, go check that one out as well. We are going to close that one. We also have this one, which might appear on our show next week because it's got 22 days more to go. But look at this. This has got a $25,000 goal. That's lofty. Will they make it? Who knows? But maybe we'll have it on the show next week and see what the good and bad of it is. Hero of Legend, turn that one off. And then we've got Excavator, another one that is on its way out the door with only 4 days to go. And they are $475 away from goal. So go check that one out as well. All right, so that leaves us with Midnight Mystics as our first one. Oh, Midnight Mystics is our first one. I misspoke on that. So that's the one that we're going to look at first. All right, $25,000 goal, man. Hopefully we'll have a good reason for why that is so big, because that is a lot. Fish, thanks for sharing to Sean. Hopefully he catches it. Appreciate you, Fish. All right. So without further ado, let's dive into our first campaign and see what's good, what can be improved, and what this campaign is all about. It's called Midnight Mystics, an anthology of fantasy comics by Black W. I assume that means writers and they ran out of space. Anybody know? Feel free to let me know. Oh, wait, here we go. Second line says, a comic anthology featuring 10 fantasy stories from Black women creators. All right, so right out of the gate, we have some information about what we are getting and what we're supporting. And so I see that a lot where we have campaigns that are about supporting like a cause or something like that. And that's fine. It just doesn't tell us much of anything yet. I would suggest in this case to utilize one of these two lines better because they are basically saying the same thing. So you're kind of wasting some space in one of those, right? The first one says an anthology of fantasy comics. The second one says an anthology featuring 10 fantasy comics. That's pretty much the same thing. So use that second line to tell us a little bit of information. But it says 10 stories from Black women creators, right? I think that that can appeal to people who want to support. But again, you're still going to get those people who are like, I don't care who created it. I want it to be a good story and have good art. Who made it doesn't matter as much. Okay, so $25,000 goal. The fact that it's an anthology with 10 creators gives me a little bit of an idea of like why they might have a higher goal. But at $25,000, that tells me that like every single creator on this is trying to get paid on this project, and whoever's putting this together doesn't have that, so they need it. I'm assuming that might mean it's not finished. And so they're needing the money to get it finished. I don't know what you guys have noticed, but do you see something missing right here in this big rectangular square? I know you can't see my my cursor. Oh, there it is. You see something missing right here? That's going to make this review quite a bit shorter. That's right. They have no video. So I've noticed this a lot when it comes to anthologies. Like most of the guys here have heard me say the positives and negatives of video. You don't need me here to say that again. But have you noticed that when it comes to an anthology, they more than likely don't have a video? I think that's because a lot of times with the anthology, like they don't have enough content done yet. Because I would love to see a couple slides of art from like each campaign. I mean, even if it's just like a couple panels from each of these 10, and then have some cool music or maybe have a voiceover, just set the tone. Because right now we got no ideas. You know, we've got a title and the tagline and our title card imagery, but we still don't know anything. Like, Out of Touch said, yeah, what's it about? We don't know yet. Benjamin says, I'm supporting this, but I wish it had some pics and a video. Yeah, me too. So let's go down into the story section. We can see that they are not utilizing the section here, the jump points. Okay. That's just a free way to get some organization, and it's not being used. Benjamin says the goal is easily too high, especially for an anthology. So I agree with that, but I'm trying to see maybe if there's somewhere in here that gives me a reason why it's so high. All right, let's jump to the story section. It says, from the brand new micro comic publisher. Does that mean their comics are really small? I'm not really sure. Burning Phoenix Press comes its first project, Midnight Mystics, an anthology of fantasy comics from Black women. Okay, we got, this looks cool. This is a nice looking piece of art. Kind of has that, I'm thinking of like, tween level kind of mystery books. We've got this big spider lurking behind them kind of thing. Can't think of the kind of book. You see this cat? He's like, give me attention. I love it. Infinite cosmic power. Itty bitty comic book. Yeah, we don't really know what a micro comic is. I don't know if they're saying that the publisher is micro or the comics are micro. I'm assuming maybe they made the publisher. Maybe all the publisher is really small. It's a really small person. I don't know. The anthology says, all right, Kat, Midnight Mystics. I'm going to be talking with a mouthful of fur here in a second. Like I'd said, a 70s porno. Midnight Mystics is a graphic novel collecting 10 fantasy comics from the minds of Black women from across the spectrum of Black womanhood. I don't know why that's so funny. It's just kind of redundant. Edited by Sarah Macklin, Violet Vixen's Ride Again, and Soul Food Wars. And with host of professional and brand new talents, you'll be transported to worlds of magic and adventure. Burning Phoenix Press was formed to increase the presence of Black women in the comic industry. That's a good thing. The anthology follows that desire and takes a step further by expanding the representation of Black women in fantasy comics. There are many of us. All right. I can't speak to anything having to do with Black culture, obviously, but I know there's some people in the chat that might be able to. Is that enough to like go, okay, I'm going to support this because of that? Or are you like, I still want to know more, like that's nice and all, but because that's kind of what my perspective is at this point, is that we've been hit with 3 different paragraphs, the tagline, the title, everything is just saying the same thing over and over again. And I'm like, okay, I get it. I want to know what's in the comic. Out of Touch says, what's in the comic? Also, that spider's pissing me off over how bland it is. I mean, it could be a friendly helping spider instead of a menacing spider. I don't know. It's hard to say. Don't let it get you mad, man. Don't let it get you mad. All right. Now we got a section down here called The Stories. Let's talk about the stories, it says. We have from Team Stephanie Williams and Ryan Oakley, The Dragon's Mirror. When an ancient dragon awakes beneath the city of Renice, only a young woman who has spent years burying her own fire can forge the bond needed to save them both. Okay, now we're talking. We got some pitch lines going on here. This is the kind of stuff we need to see much earlier on. Move it up a little higher. Maybe put this in a video. Show a couple slides. But it's nice that we're getting to it finally. Benjamin, responding to my question, says, I do go a bit out of my way to support Black creators, but I'd like to see more. Right? All right, that's kind of what I thought. You know, it's like, yeah, you want to support them, but then you also want to like see what you're getting, you know? Okay, out of your way. Sorry. I was trying to figure it out. I'm sorry I stumbled over that. All right. Second one says by Josh Toshi and Sally Lockhart, a title called The Seekers. Lily is on the run and finds herself in an abandoned castle on a stormy afternoon where she meets a young witch named Raven. The two must work together to take down a small group of hunters called Seekers to escape with their lives. Okay, so this goes on for a while. We're getting a lot of interesting stuff. I would just beg and plead to have like a single photo even of each one of these shots. I want to see the style of art that's going into each one of these. And surely that shouldn't be too much of an ask. If, you know, you've got a team, you've got these people, obviously there's like artists and writers on each one of these. They should have some amount of art done. Like even concept sketches would be something. But right now we are getting nothing, and I'm afraid that is going to hurt this campaign a lot. You can only go so far on, you know, support us because, you know, Black women creators. I want to, but I don't know anything about it yet, and that pains me to say. But the other thing that is also curious to me, and we're going to take a quick look at this after I answer this question. We've got 3,000. Whoops. Sam, you're hitting buttons again. Stop that. There it is. We got $3,385 raised and 112 backers, which is pretty respectable. That's an average of $30 per person. Okay. So if we take 25,000 and we subtract the 3385, that leaves us with $21,615. And if we divide that by an average of $30 per person, that means you need 720 backers more than they have now in order to hit their goal on the average they're going. Wow, that's a lot. So I think this campaign needs some adjustment. Yes, a panel character image with each storyline would be awesome, right? Let's take a super fast look at the rewards. Benjamin says, I'm familiar with a few of the creators, so that's also why I'm supporting. This is one of those campaigns where I wish they asked for less. I wish they asked for less and gave me more. I want to see the campaigns. I want to see the art. But yeah, over here on the reward section, we have the $1 just show us some love level. A digital copy of Midnight Mystics. It was $10. That's not bad for what they say, 10 issues. I don't know how many pages this is. Let me see if it ever says that. We got the rewards section. It doesn't. That's also useful information. Are these 3-page stories, 10-page stories? Like, how big is this book? I did not see that anywhere. That's kind of vital information, actually. All right, Armor Up is $20. Get the softcover edition of Midnight Mystics and the digital edition as well for Kickstarter only price of $20. That seems pretty good. Again, I'm a little curious. How big is this book? Do you have any idea, Benjamin? I know you said you backed it. I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss it somewhere. There's a hardcover edition only on the Kickstarter for $40, and they got 48 backers on that. So that's obviously a good tier. And then they have their highest tier is $125. No one's claimed it yet. It says it's a retailer tier. Comic book or bookstore, special deal for you, $125, get 10 softcover copies. So you don't know how many pages it is either. All right, so I would say there's some improvement that could be done in the rewards section as well, because not including the retailer version, which, in this day and age, it's good to have, but I don't know how many retailers are jumping on those. That means that you've only got 4 tiers. One of them is the $1 just thank you tier, and then a 10, a 20, and a 40. That's it. Basically 3 tiers. And you got to come up with 700 backers with just that. There's no extras. There's no stickers. There's no bookmarks. There's no thank you. There's just not enough value here for me to go, yeah, I want to back this. So Benjamin, if you know these, any of these people, maybe reach out to them, let them know like what could be improved here, because I'd love to see this succeed. Now it does look like these are brand new creators. Burning Phoenix Press says this is their first created, and that it has it listed as 0 backed. Now, as a company, it's not totally unheard of to see 0 backed campaigns, because sometimes the creator or the owner of the company, like I own Action Line Studios, Action Line Studios doesn't go and support a lot of campaigns. I actually support it through my own name. So that's not always super clear, but I will say this. If you're starting a campaign, it's always helpful to have this area here where it says 0 backed. If people see that you've backed other campaigns, it gives a little credibility to your company to say, hey, these people are part of this community. They support other people. They're not in it just to take your money. They want to give back too. And so if you are starting a new campaign, a new business, a new Kickstarter profile, if you will, one of the very first things I would do is kind of the same thing that you do with any social media. You go through and you start liking things and supporting them and backing them first before you build your own campaign. That helps kind of get some credibility going. Out of Touch says the front girl's design looks kind of nice. I wish I knew what she was up to. Yes. Mr. Fish says, even if there's a tier with a jacket and a hat, I would know I would get that swag if the book turned out to be 12 pages long. Yeah, there's some things that could be added to this that say, yeah, like if I don't like the comic, at least I ended up with a cool t-shirt and a cool hat. Absolutely right. I love that take. All right, guys. So that's all I have to show for this one. This one doesn't have a lot going. So I wish them the best. I hope that they see this and maybe can make some improvements. They do have 22 days to go. So we shall see. Let's see. I think Interstellar Dust is next, but Sam's sitting on my piece of paper. So Sam, I'm going to slide this out from under your butt. There it is. Okay. Interstellar Dust. That was right. Okay, next up. Also, I want to do a quick shout out here. Let me open this up. Action Line Studios. Jump to this. All right, I want to do a quick shout out before we go on to the next two. I'm doubling up my face there. That's too much. That's too much matte face right there. We gotta fix that. There we go. Again, we've just started a brand new service. We started it last Friday. Was the first day we went live, and this is a service that has been asked for from a lot of people. They're saying, "Hey, we love the information that you're giving on this show on the Comic Book Showdown, but the campaign is pretty much already, it locked in at that point. And so we can't really make changes until we see the next campaign or we start working on the next campaign. So now we have a service that you can get your campaign reviewed and looked at before it goes live. So you can send me the preview link, which most of you guys are familiar with. And I'm going to go through and break down an entire spreadsheet. And if Frank, who we did last week, came on here, he could share with you the detailed feedback. There's a positive and negative listing for every single section, from your story section, the video section, whatever section you want. In fact, here is Frank's feedback. It says, Matt's pre-launch review was incredibly helpful. He spotted things I wouldn't have caught on my own, tweaks that made the campaign feel more polished and effective. His feedback helped me go into launch with more confidence. If you're crowdfunding a comic, this service is absolutely worth it. So we want to see you succeed. So hopefully if you have a fresh pair of eyes, look at your campaign and give you some feedback, you can increase your success. We've got a bunch of other stuff, including Fish is on here as well. I'll read Fish. It says, Matt applies years of experience to give concise, honest, helpful advice with a desire to see you succeed and grow as a creator. We have 3 tiers for you to check out: the $20 tier, $30 tier, and $35. So I tried to make these as affordable as possible. I know there's there's a service out there, not really a service, but a group you can join through, what is it called? Comics Tribe or Comics Launch. And it's a great service, don't get me wrong, but it can get expensive if you're paying for a membership every month. And so I wanted to make this really affordable. When you think about running a campaign that's raising thousands of dollars, $20 or $30 is not going to cost you a lot to have your campaign looked at. So this is all the stuff that comes with it. And so that's all I wanted to share with today. Why is it? There we go. Yeah, if you're interested in that, be sure and check it out. And we'll try to help your campaign succeed. So let's go back over to the next one, which was Interstellar Dust. Maybe the Interstellar Dust and the Fog Within can team up. Let's see. Out of Touch says, I might have to check your site out once I get a proper comic on paper. I have outlines, lots of outlines. Got to stop procrastinating. Yeah, honestly, you might also. I have a comic book class where we talk about the steps involved in making a comic, thumbnailing, storyboarding, penciling, inking, lettering, all that good stuff. But you're right. There's a lot of steps involved, and a lot of times we just get locked into the idea stage where we just keep spitting out ideas. We don't actually get anywhere. That's a thing that happens. Mr. Fish says, amazing prices. 100% recommend it. Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate it. All right, on to Interstellar Dust. I'm going to go with the screen here. It's another omnibus. Well, I guess an omnibus and an anthology are not the same thing. I apologize. A volume 1, not safe for work, sci-fi action. The tagline says, when a prison transport vessel breaks down, the ship's crew and inmates must do whatever they can to survive a riot in deep space. All right. Out of chat says, I took your class. I still have your hand-drawn 3-headed dragon. Nice. I love that dragon. All right. Their goal is 2,500, and they have absolutely crushed it at $6,914 with still 18 days to go. So they're easily going to break 7,000, maybe 8,000. So this looks good. If we come down here, we can see that this is their 4th campaign, and they've backed 451 other campaigns. That really lets you know that they have been involved in the community, supporting people, and that helps bring people back to you, by the way. When people see that you are a supporter, they want to go back and support you. So be sure and be doing that. Even if it's just for, $1 or $5, whatever you can afford, they still remember your name when it comes back around to your turn. All right, let's take a look at this video. Finally, we have a video.
Galactic Command, come in. Our ship has taken heavy damage. A riot broke out and we've sustained heavy casualties. Some prisoners helped us escape. Galactic Command, I need you to come in, because if you don't, we are in dead space.
That was abrupt ending. All right, what did you guys think of the video? What did you get out of it? What do you know about the campaign? That's the questions we asked today. So I got a vibe from it. It definitely feels sort of like a little bit of comedic adventure fun. It reminds me a little bit of like Guardians of the Galaxy, where we got some fun, crazy characters, and it looks like they're trying to survive. Benjamin says, I like how it scrolled through the characters like a video game. Yeah, it also gave it, I think, again, sort of that fun, playful vibe. Mr. Fish says, I know it looks cool and weird, and it's right up my alley. And again, this is one of the reasons why you want to have as much of your artwork as possible, because sometimes that can help make or break somebody's decision or set the tone of like, hey, I've been digging this art. Even though I don't know a lot about the story, it's still resonating with me, right? Out of Touch says, I love the alien designs, but did that red wire go up that girls where the sun don't shine? There was sort of a split screen. I don't know if it was like a screen that was being like doubled up, because I did notice the very strange placement there as well. Let's see. We're gonna scroll forward here. We got some cool, really clean looking artwork. I like it. It's basically just clean line art, and then they rely on the colorist to provide the shadows. Is this what you're talking about? Because this looks like a split screen. You see how this person here, and there's like a doubling up of this right here. Not really sure, but I noticed that too. I was like, what is that? I think that's just a transition effect. But oh, it's a little further. Let's see. Oh, this maybe. Is this what you're talking about? Because I think that's a tail. I'm not really sure, but I think it's a tail. I don't know. We're moving on. Okay, over here on the left side of the screen, you can see that they are utilizing their jump points, even using some like emojis in the jump points. That's a great thing to do. Lets people jump to what's important. So for instance, I want to jump to what's the story about. I could just click on this and it jumps right to it. The log line says, in the distant reaches of space, justice is swift and unforgiving. When a group of less hardened criminals is sentenced to an off-world prison camp, their fate seems sealed. But when their transport vessel suffers a catastrophic malfunction, chaos erupts and survival becomes their only goal. That seems like a good premise to me. If you like Suicide Squad, Con Air, that's a good throwback. Alien 3 and Escape from New York. You'll like this. I love that. I think Suicide Squad is the only semi recent one on here. So if you've got any younger audience members, they might not know what 3/4 of those movies are. Escape from New York is a very much a cult classic kind of movie. All right, specials and secrets. Become a paid subscriber of C. Hudson's Warn Everyone Comics newsletter on Substack. All right, let's go back up the top. It says, for the first time ever, you can grab Interstellar Dust's entire story in one massive omnibus through this exclusive campaign. Over 200 pages of sci-fi action. Interstellar Dust is a gripping, dramatic comedy saga of resilience, rebellion, and a fight for freedom. What's inside this huge collected edition includes issues 1 through 8. Nice. All right, so we've got a bunch of other stuff, goals, cover options. Let's jump down to cover options. There's a hardcover omnibus edition, so 200 pages in a hardcover. That's pretty cool. Soft cover collection. There's a digital collection for $20. The physical softcover collection is only $35 for 200 pages. That seems like a steal. No wonder they're doing so well. A physical hardcover collection for $50 is still a good deal. Give It To Me Physically, $70. I love that title. Give It To Me. Includes the physical book. Looks like a hardback. Digital book, scripts, and more. All kinds of cool stuff. Then we got a character lineup sheet down here. Let's jump to the preview pages. Looks like we got some mild nudity going on here. See, again, this is something I've commented on before. If you're going to put pages on your page, obviously you want to pick pages that are going to engage people in some way. So here on this first one, we've got some comedy / sexy stuff, because she's like they're brushing their teeth and sitting on the toilet and having a conversation in the bathroom, and then they're in the shower. Then on the next page, we've got action violence. This looks something right out of like Invincible. The way they're doing the blood is like this flat, matte finish red. And so now we're seeing the sexiness and the violence. Now we're back to the sexiness. And then we've got these like really beautiful detailed backgrounds. Look at that perspective. That's a beautiful perspective shot. I don't know how well you guys can see that. See if I can make it a little bit bigger for you. Look at that. That's some great looking like fisheye lens perspective going on there. And so now, even with just a few pages, I've been enticed with a lot of different stuff that makes me want to read it. So obviously they've got 200 pages to pull from, but if you're going to make a campaign and you've only got one issue and you only got 24 pages, choose panels that are going to be interesting and enticing. Don't just choose like boring conversation pages, which every comic they have those moments where they're having a conversation. And I see people use those as their pages, and I'm like, that's not going to hook people. So these are great. This is looking great. This looks like a wild ride. It's fun. It's zany. It's violence. I'm definitely interested in this book. It might be it might be just outside of my budget to get a physical one because I have to be sure and back books every week, but I might be jumping on board that digital one. I'd love to get a physical one though. This looks great. This looks great. I honestly don't really see anything right off the top of my head that can improve this. Let's take a quick look at the rewards. Like I said, we got digital for 20, physical for 35, hardcover physical for 50. For 70, you get the hardcover collection with a wraparound cover and a dust cover and the digital as well. And that's it. That's their 3 tiers. Maybe there is room for improvement. Maybe we can have some other tiers. Now, I realize that this book's probably done. 200 pages, or something like adding you in the story is not going to be an option. But there is opportunities to sell. I mean, based on the pages you guys have seen, did you see a page that you'd be like, I'd love to own an original of that page? I mean, just in the few pages we saw, I saw several where I was like, if that was an option to get an original of that, like that cool perspective, fish perspective cover or page, if that was an original piece, or maybe one of the covers as an original piece, you could probably list that for several $100s, as well as getting like the hardback edition, stuff like that. Another thing I could recommend is maybe creating a thank you page inside. With the amount of backers that you have, you might even need 2 pages, but that gives something kind of special, and all it does is add like one more page in the book, which I doubt is going to affect printing all that much. And so there's that. I don't know what other physical options they have, but I would say here are some goal or some stretch goals. They said at 3,000 you get art unlocked. I don't know if that means like in the add-on section you could buy the art, more art, a mystery goal at 10,000. So I would recommend a couple of small things, like some inexpensive things to include in some of the higher tier rewards, like bookmarks, stickers, coasters. I mean, I've got this stuff laying around all over my desk. Let me put this back to this view right here. Like here is a coaster, a 2-sided coaster from another campaign. I've got stickers all over the place, and they don't cost much. They're like 50 cents a sticker or something. And so you can throw some of those things in to a big reward, or you just have them as add-ons. Out of Touch says, I feel like this could do with some figurines of the characters. It's not that it's a bit much. It's just that it takes a lot to get that lined up. You got to find someone who knows how to make it, get all that arranged, figure out how much that's going to cost. Then you got to figure out how to ship that to them, because it's going to be bulkier than a book. And so if you can get that figured out, we have seen people with figurines. In fact, just I think 2 weeks ago, our winner was a book and a figurine campaigning at the same time. So it is doable. And this does look like it's ripe for that, to have figurines. But that's definitely on the high end. I would say some low end stuff, bookmarks, metal bookmarks, holofoil covers, some specialized covers, things like that could add on to this, because I was really surprised to see essentially three rewards. I mean, obviously they're still doing well. but could they be doing better? Could they be reaching into the 5 digits, into like the 10,000 range, if they had a couple of high level tiers for the collectors, to say, hey, this is original art, or this is an exclusive cover, or things like that. That's really the only thing that I would say to add. Everything else on this campaign is spot on. So to CJ Hudson, who is listed here as the creator, great job. Great job to the team who built this book. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Whether it wins today or not, I definitely still want to go check it out. Oh, yeah, Mr. Fish says, I'm shipping out small figurines on my latest campaign. That's cool. So was that a lot of work? Are they just like 3D sculpted single, non-articulate type things? Are they like action figures or how'd you create that? While we're waiting on that answer, let's go on to our third and final entry. The Fog Within. Finally, we have arrived. Sean has 5 hours to go. He's hit goal. His goal is $2,500. He's at $2,734 with 94 backers and 5 hours to go. We have seen Fog Within on this show before. I think it was issue 2 or 3. I'm not sure. This is issue 4, and it is the final arc. Returning to the conversation about the figurines, Mr. Fish says, they're D&D minis. I included them in the higher tier that ship with the bigger box anyway. That's smart. Out of Touch says, I'm already loving the art style. Me too. Okay, the title says The Fog Within, 1 through 4, the arc finale, a dystopian action mystery. A Mad Max-like universe with powers. Hunter faces Damon and his swarm soldiers head on in the 90s over-the-top action-packed arc finale. All right, that sounds good. We've got a little bit of information like Mad Max universe with powers. That's a good descriptive information. The second line, Hunter faces Damon and his swarm soldiers head on. I mean, it's not a bad line, but I don't know who Hunter or Damon are yet, so it doesn't hold any weight. If you said, something about him, like, a blind firefighter and his best friend face off against swarm soldiers. Now I have some knowledge about who they are, right? So that's where we talk about utilizing those pronouns too early, where people don't know what they are. That could be more for the returning backers, though. Let's see what the video tells us. Late start. All right. Again, kind of an abrupt ending on that one. All right. The positives. Positives first. Number one, I loved the artwork. I loved that sound again. I loved all this, the tone of the music. Definitely has a nice energy to it. Like that part a lot. And the shots that were chosen are really action packed and great. And so I think, this is a great presentation, on its own, the music and the artwork together. So then the second part of this is the text. And there are some people who will be able to read it, but you're going to lose some people whenever you ask people to look at a picture that's really cool and I want to look at all the detail, while also there's some text down below. I'm trying to read both things. A lot of us are used to subtitles in a movie, but when we see action, like a fight scene happening, there's really not a lot of dialogue. We're just watching the fight scene. And then when there's a conversation happening and 2 or 3 people are standing in a room talking, we don't really need to stare at them that much. We can kind of glance down and look at the text. In this case, we're getting to look at this artwork for the first time. And so it's challenging to say, I want to see that. I see these cool smoke coming out of these guys' mouths and this character. Oh, wait, there's words down there. And by the time I see them, they're gone, right? And so if the words were just up on the screen by themselves, there probably would have been plenty of time to read that text. But because they're up there in tandem with this cool artwork, then I have to make a split decision of like, which one do I want to look at, the text or the stuff. And he, to his credit, most of the time it's only a couple words, but still, what I might recommend is that you either bring up, like, there's a couple of places in here. Let me see if I can find it, like right here, where text comes up on a card that we can just focus on the text. And so that's where we're going to get the best chance of reading. So maybe if we had some back and forth, or you faded out the artwork and faded in the text so that we could, focus on one thing at a time. That would be my really only thing to do. Or the other option is that you leave the text at the bottom just the way that you had it for people who are turning the audio down, but then you have a voiceover saying the words, on his own, not his best idea, that way people can listen and look and not have to read. But asking them to do both at the same time is always going to be a little bit challenging. Out of Touch says, I do like it. I feel the action's a bit too stiff for my taste. Maybe I'm just comparing it to Demon Slayer too much. Just rewatch the series. It's hard to say. I mean, Demon Slayer has a lot of stuff going on. This is a classic action cover. This looks like either a 2-sided cover or like a wraparound cover. This shot feels a little stiff, but this might be like the beforehand showdown where they like monologue to each other, right? But then we have this shot where they're again kind of standing. There are a lot of like poses where they're talking, but I feel like when there is action, there are things happening. Like that's a nice looking shot of someone falling down. So I get what you mean, though. Like, that's another great shot there on the cover. I get what you mean, though, but I don't know that represents the whole comic, or it's just the panels that were chosen. All right, so the question is, we looked at this action-packed finale. We saw some words with it. Did you feel like you know what's going on from that video? What did you get? I got a vibe of, like, action because of the music, and obviously there was a lot of action style, imagery. But do we know that much yet? Don't know. Let's go down into the story section and see what it says. All right, right here it says, The Fog Within is a dystopian sci-fi comic book which follows what seems to be an average Joe protagonist, Hunter. into his unfamiliar new world of future with unsuspecting and mysterious power. We're proud to have successfully fulfilled 3 issues and are currently at 96 pages of content for this series. In the present, the town of Brooks has been rocked by a cataclysmic event. An infection spreads to those surrounding the blast, and the ill start to disappear. Not knowing how to stop the spread, the government quarantines the town, leaving a vacuum of power for an evil militia called Schism to take control with their cybernetic soldier hive mind, the Swarm. We start our story 26 years later when Hunter is pushed through a time-traveling fog. Not to be confused with 28 years later. All right. So after reading that description, do you feel like you know what this story is about? We've got a character named Hunter, who's our average Joe protagonist, and has an unsuspecting and mysterious power. And then we have a town that's been quarantined, and so this is a little curious to me. So we have a town that's been quarantined, leaving a vacuum of power for an evil militia called Schism. So for one, I assume the evil militia called Schism is already there because they were quarantined. And so they came up from in. So is this because of the infection spreading around the town? Did they become this evil hive mind because of that? I don't know. And so apparently this town's been quarantined for 26 years when Hunter is pushed through a time-traveling fog. I don't know if that means he's been pushed into this town or out of this town. Not really sure. Yes. I love that this wraparound cover. That it's very action based. It looks like the ones on the right look a little bit more mutated. Maybe that's from the infection. But over here on the left, we see a character. I think this bottom left character is our main character. But like, I don't really know what they're fighting about. Are they trying to stop this group, the Schism group? I assume that's what they're trying to do. I don't know. Or I also don't know who these other people are that have joined him. So, but that's another cool looking cover. That's actually from Gerald von Stoddard, who we have seen here several times on the show. This is another cool cover by Bruno Lima. Then we got some interior pages. These are a lot of those same shots that we saw on the video. And looks like he's fighting one of these mutant characters. Okay. And then there's another character. I think this is a different character outside who is a friend or an ally, right? So it looks good. The artwork looks clean, looks nice, looks very comic book. We have a little behind the scenes drawing with the artist. It says, if you like stories with superpowers, comics like X-Men, Once and Future, Vendetta, or Tokyo Ghost, you'll like this. You get it. Fog Within 4 is a 24-page comic. So it tells us how many pages it is. That's always a good thing. Backers get various cover options, loads of additional bonus content, including a deluxe PDF. So I really like this section spelling out exactly what we're getting. And then this is a previously section where it tells us a little bit of catch-up stuff about what's going on. So, and then down here you've got some credibility, some other people that have read the book and giving some feedback here, including the point of clicking. It says, if you like dystopian sci-fi with supernatural elements and a decent-sized cast, then this is for you. That's like one of your favorite catchphrases, Benjamin. If you like this, then this is for you. By the way, pointofclicking.com is a review site from Benjamin that we've seen here in the chat. And so if you need your comic reviewed, be sure and reach out to him. BMD Nerd is what he goes by here in the chat. Okay, so then over here on the reward section, that's a featured tier at the very top. It says drawn in and guest appearance credit for $200. Get copies of A, B, C, and D of issue 4, deluxe copies of issues 1 through 4, a 5x7 print of your page, and a guest appearance also named in the credits. Immortalized as a rebel soldier fighting in the main fight. Right? That's pretty cool. That's a great deal for $200, got to say. There's only been one person jump on that. Now, back to our regular tiers. We've got a $5 digital tier. That's pretty on par. $10 digital deluxe, which includes the standard issue 4 plus various pencil to inks behind the scenes commentary. Okay, for $10. And then Fog Within 4 cover A is $12. Cover B is $12. Cover C is $15. Cover D is $15. Scrolling on down through some of these. 4 connected cover poster, $22 with the books. That's pretty cool. We got a hollow foil cover, a retail bundle, physical catch-up. Here we go. Now, I would have liked to have seen a physical catch-up of digital. Did we see that up above? Digital deluxe. I don't see that it comes with the other ones. So physical catch-up. So a digital catch-up would be nice. So if you wanted to get all of the comments or all of the books digitally, that would help. Outtouch says, seems like X-Men versus Magneto gang deal. Yeah, I mean, if you like that kind of stuff, that's what this feels like. So yeah, so far as the tiers go, I would say maybe including a digital catch-up tier. Maybe he's got some of the digital ones in the add-ons, though. We got a metal cover, a metal card, indie creator advertising tier. All right, for you indie creators out there, pay attention. This tier offers a half-page ad in the back of this comic. Also will promote you on our social media and Kickstarter updates as a sponsor. And we will also assist in making the ad if needed. You must provide by July 25th, which is 1 month from today. All right, that's a pretty cool reward, though. Physical catch-up, number 1 through 4, and stickers. So this one's got a lot of tiers. And the thing is, a lot of these tiers are barely different. And so this one almost has the opposite challenge as the one we had before that had like 3 tiers, is that it kind of gets overwhelming. There's so many tiers here. Our biggest tier, not including retailer tiers, which is in here, that's good to have. Our biggest tier is $120 metal catch-up. Actually, no, it's the $200 tier that's pinned at the top to be in the book. So I feel like that's a really cool whale tier. You get to be in the book. It looks like you might also even get a shirt. At least it's what it looks like in that preview. There's a shirt listed there. So that's pretty cool. Lots of good rewards. A nice use of the jump points over on the left. A good premise. It's clear about what you're getting. He's showing lots of artwork and previews. And so I can see why this one has hit goal. But I can also see why it could benefit from having a clearer message, like a hook. Like what's really at stake? Like we see these soldiers and we see these the swarm, the hive, the schism, I think they were called, right? But what happens if they succeed or fail? You know, like, does this quarantined town just die? It's quarantined. So like, is all this stuff happening within a quarantine? And like, at 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 the worst, this whole town dies. Like, what's at stake if our heroes should fail? That's always a good hook to lead with to get people engaged. Why should we care is a big, easy win. All right, guys, that's all the campaigns for today. Again, be sure to like and subscribe. We're trying to get to 1 million subscribers on YouTube. Actually, we're trying to get to that coveted status of being able to have monetization so we can keep this show going. Speaking of monetization on sponsorship, it's not official yet, but I am in talks, a discussion with a sponsor that you all know. It's a pretty big sponsor. So fingers crossed, we're working out the details. But if so, we could have a new sponsor on our show very soon. So looking forward and hoping and praying for that to happen so we can keep this show going for you. All right, that brings us to the final section of this where we have to make a decision. And I'm on my own here, so I'm going to be making the decision all by myself. Actually, Sam, do you have any input? No? All right, so our contenders are, again, Midnight Mystics, Interstellar Dust, and The Fog Within. Right? Which one? I can't write if you're pushing my hand with your face. Stop it. I'll go over here. All right, so which one presented itself best to you after looking at all these, excluding any personal preferences, what you liked, what you don't like? Which one, sold you on the presentation alone? All right, I'm writing down my answer right now. Out of touch said I might have to flip a coin. Nice. All right, I am ready. Got my decision made. Let's hit the drum roll, please. The winner this week, Interstellar Dust. All in all, that was just a stellar campaign pitch, pun intended. All right, it had everything we needed. It told us what was going on. It had great artwork, had everything I would ask for in a campaign. Fog Within was a close second. I'm a big fan of Sean, and I actually have seen a vast improvement in Sean's campaign building since the last time we saw the Fog Within on this show. So I might have to go back that one as well. But it's only got 5 hours to go. So if you liked it, be sure and go back it. All right. So that's it for today. Be sure and go check out actionlinestudios.com to see not only our new campaign clinic service where we can review your campaign before it goes live and be sure to get as many backers as possible, but also you can get all 9 issues of my comic book series, Mythica, as well as a bunch of other cool merch that has nothing to do with Mythica. I've got a beach towel and t-shirts and all kinds of cool stuff on there. My art book, go check it out. It's at actionlinestudios.com, and that helps me pay the bills and keeps this show going. I got to pay for all these beautiful lights back here, But other than that, be sure and subscribe to the channel on our YouTube channel. All right. Thank you guys so much. I say bye. Sam says bye. And we will see you next Friday on the Comic Book Showdown of Ultimate Destiny.